by Janeshia, our second reader. Janeshia was a longtime publisher and editor of Long Shot Arts and Literary magazine, which he founded along with Elliot Katz in 1982 in New Brunswick. Shot's poetry has appeared in Burn, Rush, The Page, Deaf Poetry Jam, Aloud, Thunder's Mouth, Voices from the Nuyorican Poets Cafe, and the Outlaw Bible of American Poetry. He's read throughout the United States and appeared on television, WNBC, as part of Philippe Luciano Worcester. He spent over 30 years as a New York City public high school teacher. And he's poet in residence of the Hoboken Historical Museum. According to Alicia Ostreicher, a major poet of the country, of the world, and New Jersey, she says, Janeshia unmistakable voice, his familiarity with the lives of New Jersey denizens, his combination of tingling smartness and soft heart, his comic pacing, and his overall solid craftsmanship prove once again that New Jersey is the long-term absolute center of American poetry. From Whitman to Shot, it's a straight shot, with stops along the way for Williams and Ginsberg, a walk through the graveyard, a yell at corruption, and greed, a seat at the bar. Please welcome Janeshia.
Thank you, Jones. I'd like to thank Maria and Laura for hosting us. This is really good. I really enjoyed the open mic. The quality of the work was really good. Tina is great, always. I'm going to read some new poems, and then I'll read a couple from the book. I'm doing an experiment, though. I just watched myself from this local TV show, and I cringed because my hands, you know, people make fun of Beto O'Rourke for moving his hands so much. I looked at myself and I was like, oh my God, what's going on? Andy Clausen called it Eastern Mediterranean Sign Language. So I'm gonna do something I don't usually do. I'm gonna grip the podium here almost to keep myself from doing all the weird gesticulating I often do.
Just let it go.
Inevitable. Do you know Irv Feldman asks the homeless man in front of 7-Eleven? No, I reply. Why do you ask? He died. I'm sorry, I reply. He was an old Jewish man, a good guy. Sorry to hear that, I say. You remind me of him. Sorry to hear that. How to look good at 60. You don't. But we can try. Give up the notion of black hair. You'll look like Gary Glitter, who, as we all know, sits in a Vietnamese prison for soliciting child prostitutes. Facial hair is a plus. It hides the sunken chin and neck waddle. If you're a woman, may the force be with you. Listen to your music. Listen to your favorite music, whatever style. Move to the beats, no matter how awkward or white you feel. Write poems as you walk, flow to the rhythm of your feet, or perfect that $1 million idea you've been keeping from the world. Change your preferred libations seasonally. Don't let your favored drink get old. Frequent different happy hour spots, but never fear the nightcap. Visit neighborhoods you haven't set foot in years. Guess what? They change. Even if your hearing or sight isn't what it once was, listen with fresh ears, see with open eyes. Believe me, you haven't seen it all. Most importantly, don't forget to breathe. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. There, looking good. This poem I wrote on New Year's Day coming back from Coney Island from the polar bear plunge. The name of it is Note Written by Me on a Facebook feed of a friend. Anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism is anti-Semitism. It can't be censored out, nor covered up, nor explained away by moral equivocators of the right or the left. Most Gentiles can't define it, though we sure can, and know it when we see it. Not all anti-Zionists are anti-Semitic. We understand that. But a hell of a lot of them are. We understand that too. Anti-Semitism is the President of the United States equating torch-bearing Nazis with anti-fascist counter-protesters, being nicknamed Ike the Kike by your high school drinking buddies and going along with it, being ashamed of your refugee parents for their foreign ways, being ashamed. Anti-Semitism is the murder of Jews in the Pittsburgh synagogue, the swastika scroll in the professor's office, Alice Walker promoting a Holocaust denier as a purveyor of truth. Anti-Semitism is the failure to speak up. This one is a work in progress that I've been working on the past few days, and it's a work in progress because the situation is a work in progress, and also there's some structural problems with the poems that I will figure out but haven't yet. About forgetting. Perhaps the only way that my sister Carol, now in her 76th year, can escape the darkness is to forget the details of her finances and friendships, to quietly retreat from the ugliness engulfing us. Maybe it's comforting to forget the malevolence emanating from the White House that has captured our national psyche. Carol, I beg you to keep in mind that two refugees who lost everything in the old world came together so that you and I could be born into this strange new land. Try to remember that you were the precocious child who skipped 2 grades in school because back then, that's how gifted children were dealt with in New York. But you've already begun the business of forgetting. Forgetting the fold-out living room couch you slept on in the 1-bedroom Bronx apartment we shared with our parents and schizophrenic sister Susan. Forgetting you had a hand in raising me after Mom's nervous breakdown weeks after I was born. Forgetting you married Leo at 20 years old and attempted to provide a good Jewish home, and the laughable congratulations from Leo's parents for landing a scholar, though our working class dad referred to him as that fat lazy bastard. Forgetting you were one of this country's first certified ESL teachers, well respected in your field. Keep in mind the years of your career lost raising 3 bright, healthy, curious children. Can you possibly forget the hardship of our parents' existence, that we are first-generation Americans who work hard to make Mom and Dad proud? It might hurt to recall how after 34 years of marriage, you left Leo for Rich, a needy man 16 years your junior, because you had grown tired of being ignored. Try, please try to remember That rich has stolen and is still stealing tens of thousands of your hard-earned dollars, and now it's my job to try to get it back. Your baby brother has by necessity become your big brother. When the screaming, the whining, the finger-pointing become unbearable, a retreat into an imagined past where progress was the trajectory of life and evolution a law of nature, when the world gets too loud and dreadful, forgetting may be the only way out. This isn't nostalgia, it's an attempt to fix memory. Now it's left to me to remember, until eventually, I too will forget. Janeshia, your heart will break 50 times by the time you are my age, yet you will survive, I guarantee it. Your father did not die of a broken heart, figuratively speaking, because you're queer. Muslim fathers love their daughters as much as Jewish fathers, I believe. The heart attack, a random twist of fate, you did not do him in. It's okay to sneak a kiss with the blue-haired girl in the back by the lockers. I'm not looking. I don't care. It's okay. I swear. Okay, so since I'm in this kind of mood today, let me read a poem from my book Works that I don't often read aloud. Probably because it's very personal. No, that's bullshit. I always say personal stuff. I just don't read this poem that much. Susie. My sister Susan is 51 years old and lives with a black family in Poughkeepsie, New York. The family adopted her. They're getting paid to care for her, of course. And truth be told, Susan is getting better care today than at any time in her life. Carol and I don't really know how to relate to Susan because we see the very bad schizophrenic girl who terrorized our childhoods with screaming fits, hair pulling, biting, and unidentified flying objects. Of course, she is a mentally retarded, autistic woman who people see as sweet and innocent. For some reason, I show my friend Jack Weiler the anecdotal psychiatric history of Susan that had been sent to me by the newest in a long line of social workers, which includes statements such as, the mother was described as sensitive, overprotective, and depressed. The father appeared to be submissive and also overprotective on initial interviews. There is a strong history of mental illness in both families. During testing, Susan's behaviors were noted to be bizarre. She engaged in rocking, tearing paper, jumping, spontaneous whirling, facial grimacing, inappropriate smiling, and looking over her shoulder in a fearful manner. She sat for hours sucking her thumb while wetting her pants. Susan spent most of her time rocking and talking to herself. She was autistic and appeared to be in a world of her own. And then the phone rings. And when I come back, Jack is crying. Now, I hate it when men cry in front of me, but I really hate it when men cry about how fucked up my life is. Jack explains how it just seems as if Susan is not all that crazy, and it was my parents who were somewhat crazy and didn't know how to deal with Susan's behavior. I become defensive and explain to Jack that while my mom and dad did not fit the stereotype American dream family, they did their best and did what they could. At this point, Jack is so far away from where I'm at that I realize he couldn't possibly comprehend the difficulties facing a poor immigrant family, particularly my immigrant family, so I stopped talking. Having read many psych reports over my life, I know that they have a tendency of making everyone involved with the insane seem insane themselves. Then, still wiping the tears from his eyes, Jack tells me that he understands why I never clean up around the house, and that every woman he's ever known would not put up with my sloppy behavior. But now he understands why my wife Caroline accepts my behavior, and he knows when I say, I don't see or care about the mess surrounding me, I really must be telling the truth. I pour Jack another drink. And I begin to think it's Jack who is insane. He's the one who irons his t-shirts. He's still wiping away tears, and I feel guilty for not having the depth of character Jack has projected upon me. I don't like doing housework because I'm deeply lazy. It's not my mother's fault, but I don't tell Jack today because I don't want to disappoint him. The mother in Susan's new family is named Hala, and she is about 7 years younger than me. And she takes Susan to the mall and to church, has painted Susan's fingernails bright red, and her friends accept Susan as part of the family. When outsiders see Susan, they don't see the monster that Carol and I see. I once showed my wife pictures of Susan, expecting her to recoil in horror. Carolyn betrayed no emotion. Doesn't she look insane? Look at her. That's how a mentally ill person looks, I coaxed. I guess, was all my wife said, shrugging her shoulders. She didn't see what I saw. Caroline and my boys have never met Susan, though I regale them with amusing anecdotes about strange things Susan has done, like plastering American cheese slices on her breasts as she took a bath, or screaming in such a high-pitched decibel level and tone after a cop pulled me over for going through a red light that he bumped his head on my car and let me go without a ticket. I don't tell them about how Susan once pulled my hair with such force I thought it would tear right off my scalp, or how when she was in school she painted the walls of the bathroom with shit and my mother was called in to clean it up, or how she caused Mom to have a nervous breakdown by almost throwing me out the window, or how she made the first 13 years of Carol's life a total nightmare in her role as little sister from hell. Carol and I drive to Poughkeepsie to visit Susan. She smiles, rocking back and forth before she starts crying. I want my mommy. I want mommy. Mom, 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 mommy. Carol and I reassure Susan that we too miss Mom, but she's not here, but we are here. And we always will come to visit our Susie because she is our sister. Thank you.